So thank you very much for your patience. And yes, it's lovely to be here. Thank you for inviting me to come and talk. So today, yes, if we stay to that first page, thank you very much. I'm going to talk about the Titanic Syndrome, a phrase that I came across when I was doing some research on recent organizational failures. There have been so many recent organizational failures, such as, for instance, we have in the UK the post office scandal, we have the Theranos medical testing scandal, and many of these scandals have intensified scrutiny over new technological systems. So we have technology, new technological systems, and our assumption is always that they are perfect, that everything is working perfectly. However, sadly, from a lot of these scandals, we see that the critical reality is that even advanced systems are susceptible to momentous errors that can send people to prison, that can accuse people of stealing money. But viewing IT programs as infallible is simply misguided, is my argument, because they are capable of error. Like, for instance, in the post office scandal, the Horizon system had defects, which led to a series of errors, ultimately resulting in the wrongful prosecutions of hundreds of sub-postmasters. They were sent to prison, many of them. Some of them committed suicide, just very tragic. And all that was because of the Horizon IT system. Also, we have the Theranos medical testing scandal. I think there is a really nice documentary on Netflix about it. We have the subprime mortgage crisis. Both those in charge, in both of those cases, those in charge and those impacted by the risks placed complete trust in the information that were presented to them. Yes, so very good. Thank you for changing the slide. We have the Maguire study. Basically, the Maguire study has conducted a study on the Titanic Syndrome. And this is a particular mindset that leads one, especially in large companies, to believe that technology is flawless, thereby hindering their ability to recognize its problems. And if we can, please change the slide. Thank you very much. So when a technological system works well for a long time, people stop seeing it as fallible. Success becomes evidence that failure will not happen, and as a result, human oversight quietly evaporates. And instead of questioning the system, companies blame operators, training, or improper use of the system. And in addition, advanced systems feel safer because they are too complex to understand. In other words, complexity creates false safety. So the Maguire study that you can see on the slide argues that technology can result in wrongful convictions. The risk of miscarriages of justice is heightened when legal decisions rely on technical data without thorough scrutiny and consideration of the social context. Digital systems can introduce new forms of error that are invisible to non-experts like you and me, or at least me, and they are very difficult to challenge in court. And Maguire also cautions that organizations frequently develop an attitude that, yeah, that's all fine, technology is perfect, and this attitude that technology is objective, impartial, and better than human judgment. So if we could change the slide, please. Thank you very much. So what is the result of this? This results in courts viewing computer output as fundamentally trustworthy, and investigators overlooking conflicting human accounts, and organizations are willing to examine or evaluate their own systems. Thank you. Okay, so although there is a lot of expectation and promise on what technology can achieve, this does not absolve those in charge, and I think this is my narrow perspective from the perspective of corporate governance, those in charge of the responsibility to reflect upon technology's limits. Complex technological systems have become integral to our daily lives, and things will get more complicated as we continue to roll out new essential digital services that influence every part of our lives. And indeed, according to research conducted by the Board of Intelligence and the Corporate Governance Institute, the gap between evolving technology and boards' capacity to apply is increasing. And nearly 2 of every 3 board members in that study feel they lack the knowledge to handle new technologies properly. And 1/3 of board members expressed worry that their limited technology skills and expertise cast them in a negative light. Thank you. In addition, half could identify at least one fellow member who ought to be replaced with someone more tech savvy, who knows more about technology. And when surveyed, half of the participants disagreed with the assertion that the board scrutinizes management on technology strategy and related topics as rigorously as it does on other matters like financial performance. And according to the study, boards generally lack the necessary tech skills, making them inadequate for their roles, bringing to light concerns regarding the ability of boards to manage technological issues. So if we change the slide, please. Thank you. So what is the role of corporate governance? Coming to my area now. Well, what I'm emphasizing here, although I'm not a tech expert, it's from what I've read and the cases that I've read and the miscarriages of justice that I've read about. Technology can create, conceal, and amplify miscarriages of justice, especially when institutions treat digital systems as infallible. And as custodians of institutions of significant public interest, executives of large companies must be aware that things can go wrong with complex technological systems. And these wrong things that can happen can have severe societal implications. And they must be ready to question and scrutinize technological systems, as this is the only way to ensure their precision and dependability. And therefore, adopting ways to restore confidence in digital systems is essential, and there are ways that can be found to protect society against future miscarriages of justice. Okay, so what I'm suggesting is that maybe we can use in the UK Corporate Governance Code, because the UK Corporate Governance Code says a lot about other committees. It talks a lot about other committees that we should have: finance committees, remuneration committees, audit committees, but it doesn't say anything about technology committees. So one of my suggestions is that maybe it's, I'm taking a slide further, I'm reversing a little bit, to say that I don't think it's the government's role to dictate, to implement laws in this area. But I think it should be more of a comply or explain. It should be up to voluntary codes at the moment, at least at present. And that's why I'm saying that the UK Corporate Governance Code should be used more effectively. By how? By mandating that firms appoint a chief technology officer, director, whose expertise is integrated into the overall governance and strategic framework. So technology services and software development services require an expert who can keep pace with rapid changes. And a chief technology officer is precisely the role designed to address this. This person will be identifying issues with the new operating systems. He will be presenting updates to the board semi-regularly and generally assisting in enhancing the understanding and identification of issues among board members, such as computer glitches and integration problems. And in addition, if we stay on the previous slide, thank you very much. There is a further issue to consider. The committee structure for public companies boards is dictated by the UK Corporate Governance Code and the related rules and regulations, which expect all public companies to consist of the following committees: audit, remuneration, nomination, and risk. But as I also mentioned before, at present, the code does not address the necessity and significance of technology committees. As companies across various sectors navigate complex technological systems and face cybersecurity threats, the demand for tech-literate board members and experienced independent forensic ICT specialists to evaluate critical technological systems grows ever more important. So when businesses invest in costly, cutting-edge new technology systems that they believe will help their organization, they often fail to ask the appropriate questions regarding the system's complicated implementation in order to monitor their progress. So I'm
Dr.
suggesting...
Demetri?
Yes, we should be finishing.
Yes, I can
Yes,
actually
well,
see.
just my final point that
Okay.
I just wanted to say that depending on the size of the company, a technology committee should also be established, depending on whether the company is big enough. So these are my arguments. At the end, I've included some references. Thank you very much for your help and also for your patience.